Here we go.
Here we go. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back, everybody, to the Path to Profit podcast. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan, along with my awesome husband, Brad Dobson. We are the co-founders of the Path to Profit Academy, where we teach creative entrepreneurs how to build profitable businesses. And I'm extra excited about our guest today, Charlene Burke, and you'll get to meet her in just a minute, because Charlene is passionate about masterminding, and Brad and I are also passionate about masterminding. We love participating in them, hosting them. I have been in some type of mastermind pretty continuously for about the past decade. So I am just extra excited to really dive into this topic.
Yeah, it's neat stuff.
And in fact, we're going to a new one on Thursday this week to check it out.
That's right, with Sam.
As well, with our friend Sam Bennett, who was one of our very first interviews on the podcast. And I think, Charlene, actually, you are like the second person in year two. So you're like number 2 in year 2 of the podcast, right?
Yep,
so it's kind of exciting to be launching into our second year here of doing this with better guests all the time.
Yeah, she's got a green screen. We're amazed.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this on iTunes, we're going to encourage you to go check it out on YouTube. So I think Charlene is as big a techie geek as Brad is, and she's using some fun stuff. And like us, she's been using Zoom for a long time. I actually met Charlene probably 2 years ago now, because she interviewed me for this really cool online networking group that she was doing. So enough about our silliness and what we're doing in green screens and technology. Tell us a little more about Charlene.
Welcome, Charlene.
Yes, welcome. Hi, Charlene.
Hi, thank you. Good to be here, you two. Good to meet you, Brad. See you again, Minette.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Great to see you too. So Brad's going to share a little bit about Charlene, and then I'll share our quote of the day.
Charlene Burke is a small business owner living in southern Indiana near Louisville. Did I get that right? I don't know if it's Louisville. Anyways,
We'll work on that.
We'll work on that.
In southern Indiana, who loves to learn and share her knowledge. She founded Search by Burke in 2008 to provide businesses with information about their customers in the marketplace, assistance with understanding the data about their customers, training on how to get in front of their target market with social media, and consulting services to create marketing strategies and marketing plans. She enjoys working with business owners through mastermind groups, being an information professional who finds people, places, things that her clients need, and conducting training programs in the areas of social selling, how to stand out in social media, research your way to better sales, and more. She started the Grow Alliance as a live stream program in 2015, brought it to Facebook as a group, and now is building a robust business community with live business retreat weekends. Charlene is passionate about making sure people have the right information and make use of it to grow personally and professionally. Love it. Good stuff.
Yeah, lots of great stuff. And so knowing that the theme was going to be about masterminds today, I was poking around for some quotes, and I don't know about you, Charlene. Brad and I are both big fans of C.S. Lewis and the Chronicles of Narnia. And I found this awesome quote that says, "The next best thing to being wise oneself is to live in a circle of those who are."
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is perfect for mastermind, isn't it?
Isn't that perfect? The next best thing to being wise oneself is to live in a circle of those who are. And I love that, because the assumption is that we're all three of us really wise here today.
Well, of course, we all bring something fantastic to the group.
We do. Awesome. So speaking of bringing something fantastic to the group, we'd love to start by just hearing a little more about what you're up to, what's new, what are you excited about in 2017, what's going on that you'd love to share?
Oh my. Well, so top of mind is Masterminds. And what I'm really excited about, 2017 is the year that I am launching 2 separate mastermind related events, if you will. So in September 2017, I have a group that is for business women only. Doesn't matter where they are in their business, they are a business owner. That is part of what they bring to the group. Limited to 10 women. It's called Power of 10. Become more, achieve more. And it will be focused on everybody being involved in the study and application of success principles, while also helping each other to grow their businesses by masterminding solutions, sharing of resources, becoming part of their networks, all the things that happen in an ongoing mastermind. The other thing I have going, which is just as exciting for me. And those of you that are joining us on YouTube, hello, see the scene behind me. This is within walking distance of where my business retreat, November 3, 4, and 5 is being held. This is Crystal River, Florida. The manatees come here during the winter.
Oh, neat.
Wow.
And the plantation is the facility that the retreat is going to be. Now that's limited to 25 people. And why I'm excited is because it's not a conference. It is not a workshop, and it's not a networking event. But instead, it really is a way to come together with your professionals, like we're all business owners, but in addition to have high-level professionals come in, people who are known nationally, to present a little bit and then spend time with you the entire weekend. So that not only do you learn something new, get to think a little bit differently about what you're doing in your business, you now have access to somebody that you would normally have paid anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 to spend an hour or two with. But you're going to have the entire weekend with them. You'll be eating dinner with them. You'll be spending time out on the point where I'm sitting right now. And essentially, and again, have access. And that to me is what's so exciting. Now, it is thegrowalliance.com. Find out more information about that. But yes, both of them are mastermind related. Both of them have a component within or are a mastermind. Now with the retreat, what makes it very different from everything else is that there's an automatic 90-day mastermind attached. So that you attend, you will meet regularly afterwards to ensure that whatever it was you learned and decided you wanted to put into action, you actually do. So that at 90 days later, you're experiencing whatever success you had envisioned from having attended the retreat.
So I'm interested, maybe if we back up a step and get real basic here.
Yeah, really.
Just say, what is a mastermind? Because I think there's some confusion out there about it. I've seen it described very differently. Some people wanted to just go for a short amount of time, and other people it's almost like a lifelong set of external business partners. So I'm interested in how you define mastermind and maybe some clarification for our listeners and me.
I'm glad you asked, Brad. The term mastermind was coined by Andrew Carnegie, and he's the one that told Napoleon Hill what he thought a mastermind was. It was Napoleon Hill who enhanced the definition that we all know to be today, which is people gathering in harmony with a like-minded goal, with the idea that we're all here for the same reason, with their own individual backgrounds, experiences, networks, resources, business acumen, whatever it may be, specialties. But we're gathering on purpose, with purpose. It can happen in short term, meaning that as an engineer, I used to mastermind with other engineers to problem solve and to do what if exercises. And that can be a true mastermind, meaning that when we've gathered for a particular reason, and we are involved in the sharing of ideas and what ifs and what have you, when it's good and when it's working correctly, there's another energy that forms. So while the three of us could be meeting and masterminding and brainstorming and problem solving, we suddenly realized that you didn't say it, but I'm pinging ideas off of you. I'm picking up energy that I would not have been in tune with had I not been with the group. So what ends up happening is this other energy source happens. That's the mastermind. So it can be a noun and it can be a verb, right? But that's the definition I'm going by, is that we're gathering on purpose, with a willingness and a generosity of what I call a hands down. I'm coming to the group with my hand down. I'm ready to give. And it's in the giving that we get. And it's because I'm an active participant in the group. You are an active participant. our goal for meeting might be a little different than maybe a group down the road or somebody else's group. But you have to have the personal interaction.
Right.
That has to happen in order for that other energy to appear. That's why I'll be the first to tell you that a Facebook group is not a mastermind group. It is an in-between connector. It is a place where mastermind members might go to talk with each other, or to keep up with each other, or to help keep each other accountable on something. But the actual mastermind happens when you're meeting. So whether it's virtually, which is good, or even better when it's in person. So if you have an opportunity in person, do it. Second best is virtual.
I think so thank you for getting that clarification underway. I think one thing that confused me was some of the initial things I heard about a mastermind was more of a long-term thing. Mm-hmm. Where people got together, a group of different business people who eventually became closer and closer, got together periodically, once a month or whatever, to meet about their business. And that was an ongoing relationship for quite a long time. And then I had another mastermind presented to me as, oh, I just want this to run for 90 days or 60 days. And, we're going to meet once a week or once every 2 weeks. And so the latter didn't seem as attractive to me, because you can get a lot done one-on-one or, in a group brainstorming. I get that part. I get the extra energy part, but I don't know, businesses have a long arc to them. And so the shorter thing didn't quite jive for me.
I understand that, but let me explain to you why you would have a 60 or a 90 day versus a 1 year or a multi-year. Sometimes a 90 day is a good introduction to what mastermind can be for you. I will do 90 days as a get it done kind of group. You come in with just a goal, and we're going to help you as a group to stay on track and figure out how you're going to reach that goal in the next 90 days. The way I structure it is exactly the same way, and facilitate the same way that I do the 12-month mastermind. And it's because what can happen in the 90 day is every member requests, can we meet again for another 90 days? Well, of course, because you've been introduced and you have that feel, now I know what it is to be in a mastermind. I want to do this some more. That's 90% of the time the response of members.
Right.
Now, the difference is when you go into a 12-month or longer, like my Power of 10 group is, that's more intense. And you know it when you go in. You're committing for at least a year. And I say at least a year because it could easily be, and it's set up, quite honestly, the Power of 10 group is set up that after a year, everybody says, no, I want to stay together. Not a problem. We have another year.
I think the thing for me was, so I'm one of those people socially that takes a little time to ramp up and warm up to people. And so between that and also, I'm just starting to, I can just see social relationships starting to strengthen by the time we're 4 or 8 weeks into it. And then, so it's a bit of a struggle to end it at that point. And of course you hope people keep going. And the other one is, well, if you then if I was then this thing that I went through, it was then going to roll into another mastermind. Well, now I got to put in that emotional effort again. And at the same time, I've got to open up my books again, in terms of pouring your heart out about your business status and all that type of stuff to another group of people. So that trust thing, and I'm not trying to do all the talking here, Manette, but that trust thing, it was clear, was a huge, huge part of a mastermind. In fact, it may be the biggest part that I recognized in the mastermind. And so it takes me time to build that, and then I'm not ready to let go of that.
I fully understand that, which is why I prefer the long term. I'm excited about the 12-month. I've been running and facilitating a mastermind since the same group has been meeting either twice a month or once a month since early '09.
Very good.
You want to talk about tight, right? But what you just described is why there's a response of no when somebody says, well, can't I just drop in on a meeting? No. Because what happens, and it really does happen quicker than you think it will, after about 2 months, and as you said, 6 to 8 weeks, there's this rapport that has been established with the members. After about 3 to 4 months, there's a protectiveness that happens.
Gotcha.
And suddenly it becomes, no, I don't want anybody else in here. No, don't you leave. You cannot leave us. We need you here because you're such a valuable member of the group. Or if, perchance, and this has happened, there's a member that goes sideways, something's wrong, and it happens. It's my job. My job is to protect the environment and protect the group.
Right.
So I've had group members come to me with concerns, and that's me discerning, all right, do I need to approach this member or not? And in one case I had to. What was happening was they were hearing dishonesty and a level of no integrity that was really bothering them. And so I said, you know what, I heard the same thing, but I wasn't going to interrupt the meeting, and I didn't. And I understand the concern, so let me speak with the member. And I approached them and I with the concern, and I wanted clarification just to be certain. And well, they were talking about, I'm going to outright lie in my business, and I am going to end up stealing, a little bit of money, because that's what it is when you lie and take money for things you will not, right? You will not give in return. I said, oh, well then how about you just not come back?
Yeah.
And I came back to the group. Well, I sent an email to the group so that they would be prepared and let them know that this person would no longer be a member, and that if they had concerns to please come to me with them. We will not take up a group meeting talking about this, because I know that what can happen is that sense of distrust, betrayal, right? Oh, and that happened. I didn't see that. What happened? Talk to me privately, and that's my role, you see, as the host and the facilitator, is to make sure that the member gets what they need. So I don't want a group taken up with non-essential conversation. Another example of that, just so you know, so everybody gets it in a different realm, is during the election. I was running a mastermind group of women, and I had 2 of them that were absolutely, positively, by gosh, it was going to happen. I'm going to use this mastermind to talk about my feelings about this election. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you are not. Because there are 8 other women here that are here for a particular reason. This is not about you. Remember, you come in the agreement. You are here to be a participant. And if it's not good for the group, I will make that determination. And so I spoke with them privately, and they came back, right? They came back. They were not removed from the group, but it had to be clear to them that we are not your sounding board for venting of,
Sure.
making the entire meeting about this. Having said that, you're going to have emotional things happen in your life. We touched on those. We allowed everybody to say, I'm really happy about how the election turned out. Happy for you. Next, I'm really ticked off about how the election turned out. Okay, now we know where you are. That's all we need to know.
Right. I love that. So I want to shift the focus a little bit. As someone who has paid to be in masterminds, has been paid to facilitate masterminds, I often also really just support people in creating their own mastermind and setting the money piece aside. And I do want you to talk about why invest in a mastermind with a facilitator. But first, one of the things that I know you and I both encourage women to do is to gather in like-minded groups for all the reasons that you stated: brainstorming, problem solving, connection, that, service first, all of those things are so important. Can you just share some tips for starting a mastermind?
I'll be happy to. So if you want to be the one that starts the mastermind, have in mind why are you forming this group? Now, it could be you want it because you're looking for people to support you. And that's fine as a beginning. That's fine. But be clear about the kind of support you're looking for. From there, then ask yourself, will we be able to support each other at the same level? If you think about it, more often than not, it's a yes. This is what I did. Tell you exactly what I did. I was planning my retreat. I was going crazy inside my own head. I said, you know what? I want successful business women to mastermind with me, to support me and encourage me. Okay? Can they do it for each other? And will I allow them to do that for each other? Yeah, I will. Okay. So now what do I do? Well, I need to be around like-minded people in terms of they're very focused and driven to succeed when they set a goal. They know how to do it because they've proven it in their own businesses. Okay. They are generous and speak in terms of being of service to others. They're big about value to other people. All right. So now who do I approach? And how do I approach them? So I had my list within my own connections, my network, and I individually asked them what they thought about this, letting it be known that the purpose really is about me, but, this is what I'm hoping it will turn into. Then I went back to each one of them who said yes, which was all of them. I want to introduce you to each other before we meet, so that if you have any questions about anything, you can ask each other before we meet. That way, no surprises, and we can get right down to business. So we set a meeting time, meeting date. By the way, it's every Friday at 2:00. It's not every Friday. It's the second Friday of the month at 2:00. And it's working out beautifully because initially, yes, it was about me. And they were all about, let's help Charlene. And the first couple of meetings, that was great because that's what I needed. But I told them, I said, you know what? I got what I needed. It's now time to let's make this about all of us. As I said when I approached you about this. And so they've asked me to now structure it as a formal mastermind, as if they, had signed up, right? And I'm just the facilitator because they prefer that structure. I said, I don't have any problem doing that. And so it's quickly turned into a pretty high-powered inner circle mastermind of women who are truly focused on helping each other succeed. It's also a great place to not feel so alone.
Right.
Because the higher up you get in your business, the more alone you tend to feel.
Right. So how many people and how long do you meet for?
Well, so it depends. I never have more than 10. Mm-hmm. I have one group that there are 6, and that's the one that's met since 2009. I have one group that is a 90-day mastermind, and that's 8. The women's inner circle that I have with myself is just the 4 of us. I had a 6-month of Grow Your Business, which was at the request of somebody else that I put it together, and it didn't work. I'll tell you why, is because they were so far apart in their business experience that it just wasn't happening. They all got value, and everybody says they received value, and I agree they got value. What I mean by it didn't work is that they're the 10% that didn't want to renew every 6 months afterwards, right? Because we had somebody with 25 years ownership of a manufacturing facility, and we had a gal who was in direct sales with a multi-level marketing firm for about a year. And I'm just saying that because there was such a disparity in experience that they couldn't even talk the same language when it came to business.
Right, that's a tough one.
And that can happen.
I know the one I was in for a shorter amount of time, there was just a wide variety of people, and so I enjoyed that, and they had done that purposefully. But at the same time, I can see how it would be really hard for it to
For a long term, it's very difficult.
Right.
Now, having said that, for a 90-day, I had a very similar group. We had a fellow a math tutor who'd never uploaded a video to YouTube, who wanted to figure out how to make more money without, he was at capacity, in the same mastermind as a life coach for attorneys, in the same mastermind as a business executive CEO coach, she had 26 years experience.
Right.
Well, we also had a fella whose sole business model was as an SEO. In addition, we had a fella who is the creator. Well, let's just put it this way. He's really big in Bitcoin. How's that for a diverse group?
Right.
They loved it. They renewed.
Interesting.
But it's because, I'll tell you why. It's because I interviewed I always interview people before I bring them into the group. But they all came with the understanding of that diversity that was going to be there. They didn't come with the understanding that we were all going to be in the same industry. We're all going to be with reasonable backgrounds, right? So it's setting expectations in the beginning. That makes a big difference.
It does. And so I love that. I feel like you gave us some great tips on starting a mastermind, really asking that question, am I seeking support? Am I willing to give support? Setting a regular meeting date and time so it's very consistent, I heard was important. Also, what was important, and you didn't go deeply into this, but I heard you kind of mention it, was what does the structure of a mastermind look like? So maybe you could speak to a little bit specifically about this one that you've created, this inner circle, about what is the structure of a mastermind like? Because I think people don't even know what to expect from a mastermind.
And I totally understand that, because I used to hear a woman lament to her live streaming audience that she won't join a mastermind because she never wants to be in the hot seat. And I'm thinking, well, it's kind of the point of being in the mastermind.
Yeah.
But her vision of what a hot seat was, right, was
painful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the way I structure the mastermind that I run is we meet up to 2 hours. Everybody's allotted so many minutes. Then there's free time at the end for wrap up, last minute questions, discussions. I stop you, or I warn you first, usually with my hand. People get to see me. I have this habit now of I touch my chin that says, you can shut up now. That's what they tell me. They say, oh yeah, I can shut up now. She's touching her chin. So that's kind
hilarious.
Of the warning. Well, it's unobtrusive. It's non-distracted. It's not distracting. So they notice that after a short time. And if they don't, if I have to interrupt, I will, because that's how you facilitate a meeting, right? That's just how you have to. Because we can get excited about things and we can get really into whatever we're talking about. So I allot so much time. And when everybody's done, and it's Q&A.
Is that what you mean, Charlene?
Per person.
Each person.
So, yes. So let's say that this inner circle one I have, you have 12 minutes each. Mm-hmm. Now, it's amazing what can happen in 12 minutes. I come to the meeting, I take up 3 minutes, maybe 4, to describe the issue that I'm having and I need an answer to. I describe, I'm here to celebrate and I want a party because I just landed this client or I accomplished this goal. I'm here because I'm miserable. Everything I touched failed. I'm going broke. My entire world is falling apart. You can say that in less than 3 minutes. And then allot the rest of the time for Q&A and discussion from the others. There are some that will take the whole 10 minutes and allow 2 minutes, but quickly learn that really the value is be concise and clear with what you bring to the group. So you're going to get that much more from them. And it tends to naturally happen. So about the 3rd or 4th meeting, everybody's figured out, I got 12 minutes, I'm going to only take 2 because I really want to hear what they have to say. The other thing that happens is people begin to learn how to ask the better questions. And that's where I come in. As a facilitator, but also as a researcher, as somebody who's always looking for the real answer, a better question needs to be asked. I found that people are learning as I'm helping them by asking different questions. So sometimes I'll watch the group and they're stumped, right? Somebody's brought them something. So I'll start the discussion. Say, well, okay, let me jump in here for a moment. Let me ask you about this. What's the origin of that? Where did you get this detail from? Why are you going this direction? And get things started. Well, then somebody will jump in. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, how about, yeah, I did something like that and it really flopped. Well, wait a minute, I did something, I don't know what you did, but this is how I did it. Then we can start facilitating a discussion. And if it gets a little wonky, gets a little off track, I'm there to bring it right back to say, wait a second. My understanding is that the real question that needed to be answered is this, right? So can we get back to that to make sure that he or she, he in the hot seat at the moment, has enough information to kind of think about and to mull over in the next week or two? Because you see, at the end, there's still additional time for Q&A, but there's also time for you guys to connect in between meetings and to get clarification about ideas. No person is expected to sit in that meeting and say, well, you know what, Charlene gave the best answer, and that's the one that I'm going to take home with me today. That is not the point. The point is that over the next 2 weeks or whatever time frame between meetings, you've now got enough information to get to thinking about how does that apply to the problem that you brought. Some answers aren't crystal clear, but they become clear 7 days later. Or pieces and parts of a couple of what people said, things you never would have thought of. I can do it this way. So here's an example.
So I guess I have maybe it's a different type of question. How much would you say that you rely on the personal mastermind, the one you set up for yourself? How much would you say you rely on that and its members for emotional support, business support? Obviously I'm in business with my wife as a partner, and we rely on each other a ton. But at the same time, like you said, you can get more and more lonely as you get further along. And I think I know what your answer is, but I'm interested in, and I want this to help our viewers understand the power of what a mastermind could bring.
I would not be in business today if they were not there. I have a group that I can talk to about my business, but I also have an accountability partner that's come from it. And we meet every week. The group meets once a month, but naturally occurring is, and I say naturally occurring, you pick your accountability partner. So for instance, the group I'm starting in September, I will encourage them to really pay attention to each other, because you want to find an accountability partner. It's not a requirement, but be open to the idea. What came of the long-term meeting from 2009 is, and actually the one that I'm in now with my inner circle one, we've got business partnerships happening. We have collaborations on projects happening. We have introduction and access to people we never would have had, because the level of trust has deepened over that period of time.
Right.
But more importantly, as I'm working on something, I make note that I can't wait to bring this to the group, because I'm really excited to let them know that their idea is working. And actually, in one case, one of the members, we're all connected on Facebook, and we have a separate Skype group for one group. So there's different ways to communicate and different tools to use and all that. I'm using a private bulletin board forum for the Power of 10 group, completely private, threaded discussions, all of that. But there's still a place to go that says, let me just throw this out to you. And so the one gal, she just couldn't wait. She got on Skype and text messaged everybody how excited she was, and discussion ensued a little bit. So we become anchors for each other, while also at the same time we become the place where we can get a little bit of freedom, right? Because our thinking, especially with creatives, our thinking get us in trouble if we're not careful, but we still need to feel like we can free think things and we can get imagination going, right? And we can, so this is my safe place I can go to get all of that.
I love that. I love that idea of seeing the mastermind as support and accountability, but also as that anchor and that place to come back to celebrate, to lament, to brainstorm. But it's part of our business planning process is that we ask people, who's your key support? We all need people on our team, and not necessarily the people that we're paying, like staff, right? So that doesn't necessarily count as support. It's one type of support. But as business leaders and business owners, we need intellectual, emotional, and tactical support, strategic support, right? Especially the more that we grow. I agree so much. I see so many women business owners feeling really isolated, not knowing who to talk to, how to connect, and masterminds are such a powerful way to do that. So we're just about out of time. I would love for you to share, where can people go to connect with you and to find out more about your upcoming events?
The best place to go is my website, searchbyburke.com. You can Google my name, Charlene Burke. I encourage people to connect with me on LinkedIn and on Facebook. I have a Facebook group for the Grow Alliance. I am easy to connect with, and don't be surprised that upon acceptance of a connection request, I shoot you an email or a short note saying, not only thank you for the request to connect, but the minute you have 30 minutes for a video chat, let's do that, shall we? And let's get to know one another.
I think that was how you and I met, was through one of those messages
nice.
and connections. I love that. So that's searchbyburke.com, and it's BURKE with an E on the end, and the Grow Alliance on Facebook. I cannot recommend enough. It will be in the show notes. I cannot recommend enough that you connect with Charlene if you're listening to this. So not only is she brilliant at what she does, she's a masterful connector, and she knows tons of people. So one of the things that is part of the secret to growing your business is connection with other entrepreneurs. And Charlene is one of those people I highly recommend that you go and connect with. So again, that's searchbyburke with an E.com or the Grow Alliance on Facebook. Charlene, thank you so much for your time. I think one of my biggest takeaways today was how passionate you are about masterminds and how you've used them both as a revenue stream in your business, but also as a personal support system for growing yourself strategically, emotionally, and intellectually as well.
Yeah, wonderful stuff.
Well, thanks you. Big thanks to both of you. Brad, it was a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
It was so good to see you again, Minette.
Good to see you too, Charlene. So we're Brad and Minette. We're the Path to Profit podcast. You can find out more on pathtoprofitacademy.com/podcasts with an S in order to access all of our shows and the awesome show notes, including the show notes from today's call with Charlene. And I've got some really great notes with you on how to start a mastermind. So if you were driving or walking and not able to take notes, I've done it for you. So make sure you go and check out those fun notes. And please go leave us some love on iTunes. We cannot tell you how much your recommendations really matter to us. Or leave us some comment love on the podcast page on our website as well. So we read everything that you send us. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week on the show.
Guys.